Hello and welcome to another episode of Anime Explained. I'm Shergog and today we are going to talk about Mushoku Tensei again and why Rudy was so vengeful towards Pursena and Linia, the cat and dog girl students. But before we dive into that, let me quickly thank my patrons for supporting this channel, as well as say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function who made one-time donations. And with that said, let's dive into the topic at hand. Pursena and Linia came from a place Rudy had already visited, namely the Beastfolk settlement Rudy and Ares stayed in during the rainy season. And Linia Dedoldia is actually the eldest daughter of Dedoldia, the tribal chief that became friends with Rudy after he saved the sacred beast. And Linia is actually related to somebody else Rudy also knows quite well, namely Ghislaine, who was also a very strong-headed individual back in time, which led to a lot of conflict and disappointment from the side of the wider tribe. And now, just like their aunt Ghislaine in her youth, the two were considered failures by their grandparents' standards, because back in their homes they would use their authority to get what they want when they wanted, which was usually right now. They had short temper, were quick to anger, ill-behaved, and in general caused a lot of trouble and conflict for their tribes. And this was simply too much for the elder to bear, hence why both of them were sent abroad to study as special students in Ranoa's academy. And the tribes hoped that they would be forced to behave better when being away from their tribe and can't use their status as princesses to get what they actually wanted. And for the first day this was actually true, and they tried to blend in. But they soon noticed how even the teachers and principals would treat them with great caution and respect, since as two princesses, they were the highest ranking members from a social perspective in the entire school. And so, they more or less could do whatever they wanted again by simply flaunting their authority. And so they attacked students, formed a gang, engaged in blackmail, and in general were more or less on their way to become actual rogues. But everything changed when Princess Ariel arrived. She, after losing a power struggle at home, had to de facto flee the nation under the pretext of studying abroad. And since she became a council member in the first year, and since Pursena and Linia were no longer special, or rather dead special, both were now in conflict. Long story short, Fitz had taken on the entire gang and defeated all 20 of them. The other 18, seeing how their leaders had been publicly shamed and humiliated, quickly disbanded, leaving the two somewhat humbled. But they still decided to pick on the third prince of Chiron, the figurine otaku Zanoba. And in a duel, both ganged up upon them and defeated him, after making him bet the most precious thing he owns, the Roxy figurine made by Rudy. Now, beast folk were stronger and faster than normal humans, and this was especially true for the royal lineage, and they could use a paralyzing magic and fought 2-on-1, so they won rather easily. And then they destroyed the statue right in front of Zanoba, who eventually told Rudy what has happened to his most dear figurine, to the icon of Roxy, the person he admires the most. And this was when Rudy became angry, like Gohan versus Cell levels of angry, because this amounted to a cardinal sin to Rudy, to heresy previously unseen in this world. Imagine how, let's say, the Pleiades or Nea would react if someone would dare to defile a statue of Ain's Ol Gon. Or imagine how the Doomslayer would react if some demons had the very bright idea of killing his pet rabbit. Imagine how John Wick would react if some mobsters would decide to kill his dog. Imagine how Megumin would react if someone would belittle explosion magic and then destroy her eye patch. Or imagine how Garfield would react if someone ate his lasagna. Super Eye Patch Wolf also made a very great lore video about all of this, and you will find a link to it down in the video description. Like, back to topic. this was the time Rudy literally understood why martyrdom and crusading was even a thing back in his world. Rudeus hated them to the point that Prince Zanoba believed that both princesses would die that day. This moment felt like you could hear BFG Division faintly playing in the background while reading this chapter. And again, this conflict had potential geostrategic implications here, because Beastfolk could actually mobilize enough war potential to match the holy nation of Milis, and you would need the entire human population of the continent Milis to create an equilibrium if they would declare war and also pull their allies into the conflict. And the princesses were also of the bloodline of heroes, or to use an overlord term, godkins. So killing them would have actually started a major war. Now Rudy did interdict both of them together with Zanoba and captured them effortlessly. But he did not hurt them after their defeat. And he then actually lectured them about what they have done, and the two princesses were quite worried, blamed and accused each other of being the true culprit behind all of this, but ultimately they were left overnight because Rudy just couldn't decide what to do with them, and therefore he asked Fitz for a proper punishment. Rudy also calmed down further after remembering that he can just fix and even improve upon the figurine of Roxy. And honestly, this felt like an Aqua moment, where she had forgotten that she is in actuality a goddess. And we also had a One Punch Man reference a few pages earlier in the light novel, so maybe it just was a reference towards Aqua. Now, this anger and the following scenes were more or less comedical in nature, but Rudy's initial feelings were genuine, since Roxy was the only thing that kept him going, despite nothing else did go the way he wanted, especially down there. Finally, Fitz settled on an idea, and painted them with, well, paint that would become permanent if they would ever defy Rudy or act rude again. Now, of course, this paint was just mana paint used to draw circles of barriers and healing, and a spell to turn written words in paint into tattoos simply does not exist. But the two beastwomen did not know that. And with this form of punishment, they were let go. Now, at the very end, let's just say the two turned around, especially when Rudy, later in the story, had awakened more of his Greyrat bloodline. And a look on the cover of the later light novels will tell you Linia's and Pursena's fate, but I won't spoil it here. And now it's your turn. Please leave your thoughts, ideas and opinions about the cat and dog girl delinquents that were, let's call it, tamed by Rudy, down in the comment sections. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Order Daddy Order, Bad Guy Yi, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dragonlord plus C du Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, the Orc Warboss, Rak Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Zenukai, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.